I am recording. Hello, I'm Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this series is called I Want to Be a Better Coach. And you've heard me say this a number of times, but as I've been coaching over the last 24 years, I've continually and ongoingly grew myself to be a more effective coach. And I find sometimes it might be missing in other people's experience as coaches. And so I wanted to offer a place where people could ask questions or share their challenges and participate in a dialogue about what makes a better coach, or how can I be a better coach? So if you have questions and or challenges and you'd like to ask me those questions, in the description below, you'll see a form that says, I want to be a better coach. Just fill that out and let me know your questions, and I'd be happy to provide an answer through this conversation. And also in terms of the comments below, feel free to answer or ask any questions there, or offer comments that might be helpful to us and as fellow coaches. So that's pretty much it. Let's get started. All right, the first question I have is from a fellow named Ben. And Ben is describing, I'll just share it briefly, his frustration and disappointment at how quickly his clients are not moving. In a sense, the clients are not moving as quickly as they'd like. He says, I'm 35, I've been coaching for 4 years. And, at first the clients do well, they're moving forward, and then there seems to be a slower and slower progression. He said, I'm getting frustrated and disappointment. Why aren't my clients moving faster? How can I be a better coach, basically? So there's two things going on. One is the fact that for us as coaches or teachers or parents, or coaches, whatever we're at, or managers in a business, when we have expectations, we really have to look at that for ourselves. What are our expectations of other people? Are they based on right, wrong, good, or bad? Are they based on our experience? What are we basing our expectations on? And there's quite often that they should be moving faster. I should be a better coach. There should be more progress here. And those shoulds kind of indicate something's going on in terms of our own perspective. Here's a really great example. When I was teaching sailing in the San Francisco Bay when I was finishing my PhD, while I was working on my PhD. And I was teaching beginners, and they'd never been sailing before. And there would be a point during the 5-day program where I would get frustrated. And so one day I expressed my frustration with my manager. I said, these people aren't getting it. They're not growing. They're not getting better, or they're not sailing as effectively as they should. And I was kind of on a rant. And my manager, Rich, said, who are you to judge these people? This is the first time they've been on the water. This is the first time they've been doing what they're doing. You have no right to have those expectations. You have no right to be frustrated with them, because this is something they're learning. You got to get clear about your frustrations and where those are coming from. And that was a real huge eye-opening for me, because I thought, wow, I never looked at my expectations as being out of line, And we do this with partners. We do this with all kinds of people who we get frustrated with, or we get frustrated with traffic, or we get frustrated where we get frustrated. We don't take responsibility or accountability for that and go, where's that coming from? Where's my frustration coming from? Where are my expectations coming from? So Ben, when we're looking at this and questioning and looking at, I'm frustrated with my clients, or I'm frustrated with the level to which they're able to move, I got to look for myself. This has really been helpful for me to look at, what is it that I'm expecting, and is that appropriate for the work that I'm doing as a coach? So we're always coaching to the gradient, and we're quite often people think that coaching is about getting people somewhere fast. It's like, rather than taking your bike from here to there, you're going to take a helicopter or a jet. And this is really about coaching. Life coaching is about being in the presence of an individual through their process as they're progressing to where they're going, their destination, their heart's desire, their goal, their results. But this is not about getting them quickly. And when there's that pressure to get them quickly, pressure on yourself or them, that creates a resistance. It sometimes creates a resistance in you, and it creates a resistance in your client. So when we can go, okay, I'm going to let go of my expectations. I'm going to let go of my frustrations. I'm going to look at my expectations and go, my client is where they are at right now, and how can I be more present with them and accept and allow where they're at? You're going to have a different relationship with every individual you come in contact with. And they're going to find it much more comfortable being with you because you're going to be a safe environment, a safe and safe presence for them to be who they are at the speed that they're willing to travel or able to travel. So keep that in mind, is the more that you can let go of your expectations that they should be moving forward in a certain way to a particular objective, the more you can let go of that, the more you can be aware of, oh, here's where I'm getting in the way myself with my own expectations or disappointment. So just pay attention to that. So the other piece of that is quite often when an individual comes in for coaching, they are excited and or they feel the potential of what might change, and you in a conversation with them engages them in such a way they go, yeah, this is going to happen and I'm going to have my dream. I'm going to have my expectations fulfilled. Well, we call it the honeymoon phase, and this is true for therapy. This is true for relationships, every relationship, even mothers and parents. And whoever is starting something new, they have this time of honeymoon. And so with every client, you're going to experience that honeymoon phase where there's anticipation and expectation, and that expectation to, you know, is kind of fulfilled because the person's coming back and perhaps they've done their practices and their homework and they're moving in the direction of what they want and where they want to go. But much like any relationship, we'll say any like a new marriage where people are on a honeymoon, it's all happy and exciting and aren't we doing well and aren't we loving each other? But there's a point where something happens and somebody starts to slow down or get stuck or resist or move away or ignore, as I say, ignore, distract, deny, or ignore, avoid, distract, and deny. Those four. We start doing things that starts to take us away. So as a client, as they get closer, we're all in our comfort zone, and especially in our honeymoon phase, we love each other for who we are, where we're at. But as a person gets closer to their the edge of their comfort zone, which coaching is always about growing the capacity of our clients to move towards what has been uncomfortable they can't do themselves, basically, or haven't been able to do themselves. As they go up towards the edge of their comfort zone, they're going to start to feel resistance. They're going to start to feel afraid. They're going to feel angst. They're going to feel anxious. They're going to feel uncomfortable. And that's going to slow them down. We'll talk more about this in the two other questions that I'm going to answer today. But when we look at what slows a person down, it's quite often that they're coming closer and closer to the edge of their comfort zone. They're coming and closer to their underlying commitment, if you will, or conflicting commitment. They want what they want, and at the same time, they don't want to move outside of their comfort zone. They want security, comfort, safety, stability. And as we move out of our move towards the edge of our comfort zone, every single one of us begins to feel that level of discomfort and start to slow down and or resist. And a lot of us as coaches do the same thing, is we are trained to coach a particular way. And when our clients aren't responding, we go, well, I want to do the same thing because that's all I know. I'm not willing to explore and see what I need to be with that may take me to the edge of my comfort zone as a coach with my client. So there's this beautiful dance that happens where our client is getting closer to their the level of where it gets uncomfortable towards the edge of their comfort zone. And you as a coach also have to explore the edge of your comfort zone. And so this is a beautiful dance where both people are growing themselves. This is true for me. every single client for me is my teacher. I'm going to learn something new with every single client. I've been doing this for 24 years, and every single client, every single interaction has been something new and engaging in a way that shifts me into a more expanded sense of being with them. And so that dance stretches and stretches us both. It's really wonderful. And so I really want you to be able to experience that when we get out of our frustration, we get out of our, they're not doing it and they're supposed to be, and why isn't it happening? And it must be me. It's like, pay attention to those cues of what you're listening for in yourself, in them, and kind of slow down. A lot of the work, and this is one of the principles that I share in the book, 36 Principles of Transformational Coaching, is coaching takes place right here, right now, and progress takes place right here, right now. And if we're moving too fast or pushing or even nudging, our clients may feel a sense of needing to resist. So we're playing with that right here, right now moment, as opposed to these larger, larger moments. We're playing in the increment of this, if that makes sense. So I'm going to leave it with that. Pay attention to your own disappointments and frustration, where that comes from, and also how that influences that honeymoon phase with your client, and being present to what is versus what isn't. That's also, for me, a very huge practice, is like, what's present right here, right now, in the resistance. If my client is resisting, what's showing up that has that resistant occur? It's a place to play and be curious about. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. All right. Thanks for your question. It's huge. And I think we'll come back to this over and over again in different ways. Okay. Jen has been practicing coaching for, and I say practices, we're all in a practice of coaching. And Jen's been coaching for about 4 years now. And she says, what do I do when a client is satisfied being stuck in their situation and willing to sacrifice themselves, not seeing the alternatives as an option? For example, if a mother who's having problems with her husband and just had a new baby and has other children knows that she is entitled to abundant, prosperous life with happiness in her marriage and a greater career, but does not seem to think it's possible because of her circumstances. So this happens a lot. And again, it goes back to what I was saying with Ben is there's something that people want, and they're committed. There's an inspiration or a desire enough to come to coaching. There's a desire enough to come to coaching to have what they want. And at the same time, there's a conflicting or confronting commitment, conflicting or underlying commitment that says, I'm scared to let go of this. I'm committed to staying safe and secure and stable. So it sounds, Jen, like your client is saying, hey, I want something more, the abundance and happiness and prosperity. And I also am caught in my own commitment to keeping it safe. So this is a challenge for everyone always, in a sense. Every client will come in with, here's what I want. And there's the honeymoon phase, which moves them in that direction until they get closer and closer to their the edge of their comfort zone, where they go, this is too scary. And then it gets slow, and it could slow down to where it feels like they're stuck. Like you said, your client is satisfied being stuck. But I'm going to question that as a really interesting statement. And my client is satisfied being stuck. So number one, as you know, I asked the question, what is it you want? So I would ask the client, what is it you want? What is it you really want? And probably she's not going to say, I want to be stuck. Okay. What she may say is, I want this more prosperous life. And right now, the circumstances are such, I don't know that I can create that. But that's a both and, in a sense. But just ask a person, what is it you want? Over and over and over. I do this with almost every client, because in every session, they're going to be bringing up the objections or what keeps them stuck. They're going to keep doing that, because that's what's been imprinted or entrained in them, what they've been holding on to as patterns and habits and addictions in thinking forever. And so to move people out of that stuckness, that resistance, that holding pattern, may take some strength building on your side to remain patient and in the moment with what is, and in growing their strength and courage to move beyond where they've been stuck. So a lot of life coaching is about this place where there's the push and pull of, I want what I want, and I'm afraid to let go of what I've been doing. This is the place that most of us are going to have to practice being in as a coach and become more fluent in being present to this, as opposed to, here's where you're stuck and let's practice A, B, and C to get you unstuck. That's what most of us do, this sort of cause and effect kind of thing. I'm being very kind of vague, but because I want to stay in the moment of when my client says I'm here and my circumstances are what they are, they can feel like, so it's impossible for me to move forward. But whenever there's an indication that our clients think it's impossible, anytime a person says yes, but, or what if, or if only, there's a moment where they go, no, this is their way of saying it's impossible. Then our work as a transformational coach is to go, okay, there's another paradigm here where it is possible. We don't have to say that out loud because our clients right now are in impossible, or my situations are such that it's too overwhelming. So we want to take it slow. We want to slow things down so our clients we're meeting our clients on the gradient where they're coachable, or where how quickly they can move, as opposed to how quickly they think they can move or how quickly we want them to move. It's how quickly are they able to make progress. And we have to honor that and respect that in them. And in one of the things I learned was that there's, we think of the universal law of attraction. I found out that there's this law of progression, and this law of progress says you can't go any faster than you're going, and you can't get to where you think you're going to go at the speed you think you're going to go. You have to take these incremental or elements of progress the way that they are. I don't know if that makes sense, but we expect people to make progress in a certain linear direction, if it makes sense. But quite often our clients don't move that way. And we have to look at our expectations again. Where is that coming from, that I think they should be on this linear track, and here's what should happen? But if we are sitting with a client and working with them over time, they may not be making progress towards a career as quickly, but maybe they're making progress in their relationship with health or well-being or partnership or children or creativity. If we look at the progress that they are making, then we can see they're exercising that capacity to move out of, as you use the word stuck, to look at their capacity to move out of stuck, but it may not look the way you expect it to, or for them. So we become thinking partners and listeners, and we're witnessing where they are moving out of stuckness in the way that they are. Again, could be unrelated to their desire for a different career or prosperity. It has to do with something else. So our ability to look and see and massage that, oh man, you're making progress. Look at what you're doing. Look at how you're more capable, or you're experiencing or active in this particular area. And as they grow that area, they're going to grow this area. In the transformational process, it's, when we think about change, different than transformation, change is changing this. Like if I pick up my wallet, I've just changed what's in my hand, but the transformation takes place along a bigger gradient, my whole life. So when I change, when I'm shifting one thing dynamically from the inside of me, my being, I'm shifting more of me to be able to grow the capacity to do something in a different context that may be more challenging. A lot of coaches, for instance, may be really successful in certain areas of their life, but they're not necessarily effective or successful in another part of their life. And so when we look at that personally, like I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that, then we can own that for our clients as well, that we're growing the capacity. I don't know if that makes sense, but we're growing the capacity. And if we as a coach can witness they're growing this capacity in this area, it will help them get unstuck, because they'll say, oh, I'm doing this and I'm safe. I'm growing and changing and expanding and moving beyond my comfort zone, and I'm safe. And if I can do it here, I can grow that capacity over here. So we as coaches, life coaches, are holding that space to allow that expansion to occur. I hope that helps. That's a lot. But it's that place of that dynamic, because again, that honeymoon phase of, oh, isn't this great? But at some point we kind of screech to a halt, and it seems like people are stuck and I don't know how to get out of it. But as the coach, we have to be the one to say, okay, so what's showing up now? Where's this stopping moment? What happened? What showed up? We have to be curious about that so we can help our clients detangle from this stuckness. We're calling it stuckness, but from this accumulation of thoughts or the context, so that they can begin to unravel that and grow the capacity to move towards what they want. So it's not that people are satisfied being stuck. It's just usually what we're used to. The people that we call them, it's a matter of fence sitting, right? And people are so comfortable sitting on that fence, they don't even know that's the case. And that's part of a large part of fence sitting, a large part of coaching is seeing how people are sitting on their fence and how they're fearful of choosing one thing or another and moving forward, because they don't want to choose. They don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't know how to do themselves. They don't know how to be, all those kinds of things. So when we can sit quietly with our clients, holding space with them, being that presence of comfort and safety, that will unfold. I hope that helps. Another question from Jen is, she asks about self-coaching. What's the value of self-coaching? Is it okay to self-coach? And it's a hell yes. I work myself out of a job if I can with my clients, because I want to empower them to empower themselves, to be able to be accountable and make the choices that they need and want to make for themselves. And so, of course, with coaches as well, I want you to be able to have that ability to see and witness who you are and how you're choosing to choose. I want you to be able to notice when you're avoiding and ignoring and distracting yourself. And this is within a coaching session and or personally. I want you to be able to see that and be able to maybe make shifts and patterns. I want you to be able to notice where you're getting in your own way. So all of those things are really, really important and valuable for you and self-coaching is part of that. It's that ability to self-reflect and to go to your inner truth, to your highest knowing, and be in conversation with that. It's the ability to be in those places that are dark and scary, or questions that you're afraid to ask yourself, but need to be asked of you by you. So this is a really, really important element and capacity that I want to grow in you, and I want to grow that in my clients. I have a particular client that I've worked with off and on for about 10 years, and we started with personal coaching, and then moved to business coaching. And now his business is growing, so we're now almost in an executive coaching kind of coaching process. But he's moving to a place where now they're doing so well and able to integrate so much of what we've been working in and of personally and professionally, that he's able to do a lot of that for himself. And he knows that he can call me anytime he wants to get my support and in holding that space for him to see what is. So, and that's what I want that for them. They said, well, I don't know when we're going to see you again. And I go, hooray, because that means I've done my job. They have empowered themselves to empower themselves. They're not afraid to own what's theirs. And that's so important. So self-coaching is really important so that you can learn to own what's yours, and own the ability to say, this is who I am and this is what it feels like to be me, and move forward from that position, that truth. The other side of that is when we want to self-coach, but it's not working. And when it's not working, that means that we can see how we're distracting or avoiding or ignoring some things that we're distracting and avoiding and ignoring. And when we can know that, and we can see we're not making progress for ourselves, then it's time to bring in a coach or a group coaching or something where you're going to get support through this process. Again, life is a process, and where we get stuck is just a moment in time where things are kind of interesting and intriguing, and there's a learning that's happening for you. And as you're willing to get support in that learning, then it's going to potentially move through more quickly or effortlessly, but it will move forward in a way, what do I want to say? I can't say it's more easily or quickly, but you'll have support to untangle some of the stuff that you're not able to untangle for yourself. So it's a both and. It's like, yes, cultivate the capacity for self-coaching, to hear and listen and witness, to truly witness yourself, to know that inner self, to know the scared parts of yourself, to know the parts that don't make sense to others, but that your job is to make sense with it for yourself. And where you can't do that, then it's important to reach out and get support. One of the things I found through a lot of my coaching training is a lot of my clients, or a lot of my trainees, weren't willing to get coached themselves. And so if you think about it, if you're not willing to get coached yourself, then how can you expect your clients to want to stay in coaching or even get potential clients will say, there are potential clients, but they go, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay the money. I don't want to invest. And quite often that can be a reflection of our own stuff. In a sense, if you aren't willing to get coached, you're not willing to invest in your own personal coaching. Personal is always professional. Professional is always personal. It's gonna be the both and, as far as I'm concerned. If you're not willing to do that, then there's that. How can I expect somebody else to hire me when I'm not willing to get coaching when I need it? So we have to ask ourselves those tough questions. I have to ask myself those questions all the time. And I do have a coach that I go to, and that supports me when I can't work it out for myself. And I'm so grateful that I have her to help me through that. And a lot of times, I have a group coaching, link is below, and or the information is below if you're interested in group coaching, and group coaching training. That's more specifically what I'm talking to, is that group helps us look at the issues that are getting in the way of being effective as a coach. And as a group, then it becomes even more synergistic in that we're expanding our comfort zones as a unit. In a sense, we're all growing and expanding, and that includes me. So when I'm working with individuals in coaching, I'm expanding. When I'm training people, I'm expanding. When I'm in these groups, I'm expanding. And that's what I want for me, and it's what I want for you, because you want to be you want to be a better coach. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. All right, that's pretty much it for now. Down below, like I mentioned, there is the form. If you have questions, please feel free to just click on that and answer the question. What challenges you or what questions do you have? There are also other offerings. If you're interested in just stepping into something a little bit more adventuresome, I have on the YouTube. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. It's called Inward Bound Boot Camp for Self-Transformation. You'll find it here on YouTube. And it's a 21-day course. And it's one of the people that it has affected most that I've gotten comments from are people who are coaches, and they find that this really helps them understand and grasp and grok a lot of what coaching is. So that self-transformation is for us as coaches, but also how we can be more effective as coaches for others. And it's for everybody, but I think it's really good for coaches as well. So check that out. There's other offerings, but I'll just say that for now. If you like this, obviously, please give me a thumbs up. If there was some information that was valuable, I would really appreciate the thumbs up. And if it's something that you want to listen to more, please subscribe. And I have over 300 videos on this YouTube channel. So there's lots of stuff to explore, and see what you find. All right. Blessings to you. Big hugs. Bye for now.